Ano ba? Hindi madali. It's not really easy. The process was not really easy coming here in Norway. I have a previous colleague who worked, we worked on the same hospital na punta dito sa Norway as student. Then, sabi niya, Norway gives better opportunities for nurses. So sabi ko, why not? Sabi niya, why not come here? Key is to learn the language. So she told us to enroll for a language course, Norwegian course. And we enrolled to that language school, internet school. The plan is I will study Norwegian in a few months, and we will come to Norway as student to have student visas. But during those time, Norway became very strict to student visa. So we, I got a denied visa for the student visa because Norway is no longer accepting students. We submitted again. It got denied, so twice. So the school said, okay, we will continue the offer for the Norwegian course after your study, as long as you can speak Norwegian, so we will try to find you jobs. Fortunately, after 10 to 12 long months of studying Norwegian, come to think of it, I am learning Norwegian 1 hour every day for 10 to 12 months. After 1 hour, wala ka ng kakwentuhan, wala ka ng kausap na Norwegian, so makakalimutan mo din siya. Anyways, after that, so sabi nila, okay, we will help you to look for a job. Fortunately, nakahanap naman ako ng work. Merong tinawag ako for a job interview in Norwegian. Fortunately, natanggap, na-process, na-deny ulit yung visa kasi yung kulang doon ng documents. So, yun. So, approve after nag-submit ng panibagong documents. Pagdating sa POEA, sabi nila, direct hire. Wala daw direct hiring from Norway. So, tumagal na naman. So, it took more than a year, very long process.
It's a long process and complicated process. Tama daw sa iyo. Tama.
Yes, very long, complicated, frustrating process.
Yes, velkommen alle sammen. I dag så er det første episode med FHS serie SPL, eller sykepleier, med våre, som er med titel Venteliste. So, I will be speaking in English the entire episode with our guest, Salam, or although our language here is Norwegian, this is for us to include also those who are new in Norway but are dreaming to become a registered nurse here. So I will give just little clips or just a minute. I will just fix some technical. And for those who would like to share their comments and suggestions or any experiences and would like to share it, you can write down on the comment section like doi doi, and then we will read it. I need to fix my camera. All right. So tonight we will be discussing the experiences of the nurses waiting and like earnestly trying their best to secure a job and to get their authorization in order for them to be a qualified nurse or registered nurse here in Norway. But we all know me, like firsthand. I have firsthand experience of like waiting. It's not just waiting, but the opportunity. It took so long for me to like grab the opportunity in order to secure my authorization. It took me like around oh almost maybe 4 years. So now we will be hearing stories, and we will also take a look at the research study entitled "Waiting: The Migrant Nurses' Experiences." This is created or written of a PhD candidate who is our guest right now, and together with her colleagues. So here she will discuss what actually are the challenges of migrant nurses in the pursuit of getting their authorization and pursuit of finding a job as a registered nurse. So, like I said, comment down below where you from, and then we will read it. But now, without further ado, I will introduce our guest, the researcher, and a very good resource person, and helping the migrant nurses, especially the Filipinos. I've met this. I met this researcher like 2 years ago in a conference, also regarding the same topic. So without further ado, I will introduce Ashdod. Hi. Yes, it would be weird, but we will talk in English this time. How I need to unmute it. Yes. Thank you, Ashlag, for being here and guesting in our show. It is our honor to have you here.
Thank you for the invitation. I'm honored to be here.
Yes. Would you like to present yourself, like a short introduction for the people to have an overshake? It's beginning to be difficult to have an insight of what you are working, and yeah, just a short introduction about yourself.
Yeah. So my name is Asle, and I'm currently a PhD candidate at Oslo Metropolitan University. And I'm a part of a larger research project where we look into the trajectories of nurses coming from Poland, Sweden, and the Philippines. And we look at how their experiences are shaped by the different migration regimes.
Yes.
And
yes, go ahead.
yeah, and I'm primarily focusing on the nurses from the Philippines. And I've looked into like their experiences in Norway and how they are living a transnational life with family in Norway and still family in the Philippines.
Yes.
And also I'm focusing a lot on how the nurses, despite all the hindrances and barriers they're facing, how they're still able to move on with their life and how they're active agents in their own life.
Yes, very good. I actually still remember what you've talked about that time you presented your research. And so I would like the co-nurses here or fellow Filipinos and other minority groups to hear what actually what you back in that research program have found out. So we can actually begin now in discussing the challenges. Actually, what are the challenges that the migrant nurses have faced or are still facing in terms of coming to Norway and like yeah like the transition from their homeland to Norway and before they begin their career, what are the challenges they've met?
Well, the first challenge starts even before they enter Norway. It's about securing a visa to enter Norway. And there has been quite a lot of changes in the visa regulations. And therefore, the experiences that the nurses I've talked to, that reflects the time of their entry. And among the nurses that I met, the most common way was that they entered Norway as on a job seeker visa, which is no longer available,
No.
or a 1-year visa as a language students, which is, as far as I know, no longer available.
No.
And then there's the au pair visa, which was quite
Yes.
common, and I think that's becoming more common because the other options are no longer available for the nurses.
Mm.
And even when the job seeker visa was available, there were quite a lot of nurses who chose the au pair visa because the length of stay that was granted on that visa, that would give them 2 years in Norway rather than 3 to 6 months.
Yes.
And then there is, of course, the issue of language. Even though you're fluent in English, it doesn't help much in Norway.
No.
You have to learn to master a new language professionally and in private settings. And I also found that quite a lot of nurses found it challenging with finances. Many of them had left the Philippines because they wanted to provide financially for their families. And once they arrived in Norway, they were not able to secure a paid position. They had to do language trainings, and it was difficult to find a permanent position. So for some of the nurses, they had left in order to provide and remit money to their family, and instead they had to ask their family back in the Philippines if they could send money to them in Norway. And then, of course, it's the issue of authorization.
Yeah.
It's all these challenges related to getting your credentials assessed and approved in Norway. And my impression from the nurses I spoke to was that the process of getting authorized in Norway was even more complicated than what they had imagined before they left the Philippines. And they also told me that they felt that it was difficult to maneuver the Norwegian regulations because they felt they were constantly changing. So all the nurses that I talked to, they had started their career in Norway as healthcare worker or helsefagarbeider because they were not able to secure the authorization as a registered nurse in Norway.
Yes. Yeah, I completely agree because when I moved to Norway, it was 2012, and I came here as an au pair. Like you said, it's easier compared to the job seeker visa, which has duration from 3 to 6 months, and it's very difficult because they actually are evaluating to stop that job seeker visa that time I arrived. So 2 years with au pair visa, I needed to secure everything that I need to in order to be authorized. Otherwise, so I'll be leaving the country without after that long 2 years. And yes, the experience because the film that we played a while ago. When we started, it is actually a story of my good friend Ian Faigones. Currently now he is an anesthesia nurse. He's studying anesthesia sykepleier. No, mastery anesthesia sykepleier. Men, but for 6 years ago, like he said in the interview, he waited almost 2 years in the Philippines got rejected for visa application like three times. But still, Ashlag, we Filipinos, we're very like hard-headed. We don't give up easily. If we dream of something, we would like to get it. So after years of waiting, he got this job, and now he is finishing his masters and soon to be an anesthetic applied. But that is an like a good story that ended up well. But among others, it's not that so easy. So later we will have a guest also, a good friend of mine. But we will also tackle other part of your research study. But first, I need to see. Yeah, they're still shy to comment their stories, but I see a lot of comments here. But moving on, maybe we could discuss how those challenges affected the nurses, not only professionally, career wise, but also personally. How what your research study have found out regarding that?
Well, I can start with the language, because quite a few of the nurses I spoke to, they said that they felt like a child when they entered Norway, because they're not able to articulate themselves, and their colleagues were shy to speak English, so they were sitting alone during lunch break because they were not able to communicate fluently in Norwegian, and their colleagues didn't want to speak English. So they felt often left out in the workplace, especially if there were not other Filipinos in the same workplace. And when it comes to the financial challenges, some of them told me that they would buy cheap food, they would eat less than what they needed just to save on the money. One of the nurses told me how she had collected bottles to pante the bottles to earn some money, because she didn't want to ask her family for financial help. And she said, I'm from a middle-class family. That's nothing I would never do back in the Philippines. But here in Norway, I'm like left in this situation. And they didn't want to buy the månedskort on the T-bane, so they would walk for maybe an hour or two to get to their language courses. So I've been really impressed by how persistent Filipinos are. And when it comes to more like how it affects their career, I found that their experiences could in many ways be described as a process of de-skilling. Like they're employed as au pairs and later on as healthcare workers, and they're not able to utilize their professional skills. And many of them told me how they were fearing that they would lag behind professionally, and also that they were losing confidence in their skills. And as you all know, like the process of getting authorized is really time consuming. It requires money. So their family situation would also determine whether they were able to pursue a nursing authorization or not. For the ones who had young children, they said they didn't feel that it was right of them to spend so much time and effort on getting authorized. And others told me that they had family back home in the Philippines that relied on the remittances, so they could not afford to work less as an auxiliary nurse in order to get authorized as a nurse, even though in the long run their salary would increase. Their family were dependent on their remittances now. So it was clear that the family was an important factor in how they experienced being a foreign nurse in Norway.
So, do you think the family has much to say, or their advice, or maybe the decision of the person trying to get the authorization or trying to get a career in Norway has something to do with their family back in the Philippines or back in their homeland has been trying to tell them?
A lot of the nurses told me that they had taken up nursing because their parents had asked them to, or some had directly directed them and asked them to take up nursing. Other had been more like advice that maybe nursing was a good option. But I felt like there were always some kind of family decisions involved in the decision of taking up nursing.
But is it like more of a negative way rather than positive way? Or like it depends maybe on the nurse or on the person.
I think it depends on. I think it depends on the person, and some said that like they were considering nursing and another course, and since their parents advised them to take up nursing, they went for nursing.
Okay.
So it was like different degrees of pressure.
Yeah.
And I also think it's like the perception in the Philippines, not only in the family, but more generally in the society, that if you take up nursing, that's your passport to a better life overseas.
Yeah.
So
You know, not just in Norway, but all over the world. When you ask a Filipino, "Are you a nurse?" It's just, "Are you a nurse, or do you know someone who is a nurse?" So I think, it has been our trademark, and I'm proud of it. But like you're saying, that is not a norsk en sånn varemøte here. So the people starting from the very young age in barnehagen, they're teaching the children to decide on their own, be self-ständig, independent. But in the Philippines, we're deciding like collectively, like as a family. So, what can I say about this difference between the region culture and our Filipino culture?
Well, I think there's a lot of differences. And sometimes I would ask the nurses if it was a requirement for them to take care of their parents. And then they would answer, it's not a requirement, it's a response. It's because I want to care for my parents. And also, like, as you've been living in Norway for many years, and you know that we are very independent. We want to make our own decisions. We don't want to get our parents' advice. We want to live independently from an early age.
Yes.
I think there's a lot of good things about that. But I also see what I found in the Filipino community in Norway is that you're very good at looking after each other, and also in the absence of relatives and biological family members, I could see myself when I was visiting these communities, but also when the nurses told me about their life in Norway, they said that I have a family away from home because my fellow Filipinos would act as my family in Norway. If I need a babysitter, which my mother would have been my babysitter in the Philippines, my mother is not here, so other fellow Filipinos would be babysitting my kids. So I think an advantage of the Filipino culture is that you are very closely knit together and that you are supportive of each other.
Yes. Yes. I think I would be proud that we are actually like that. We are building family away from the family because, like me, I started my career, or I started my journey in Norway. Like I have no network at all, and that's too depressing. And later on, I've build some networks and found new friends. And now I could say that I have a big family here in Norway, although still my family is really away from me. Um, but yeah, how do you think it has affected that? Like we are still we're still like acting based on our culture, but in the same way we need to adjust the culture along the challenges. How do you think the effect on the person, like personally, like, we've discussed it, but like have you like heard that they've been depressed and like frustrated, or like on the way of giving up the dream here in Norway? Have you heard some of the stories?
Yes, several nurses told me that they wanted to just give up. They told me that they were just crying and they were just longing to be back in the Philippines. And that they had some, yeah, they were struggling because they were alone. It was it was so hard to find work in Norway. They were missing their families, and the ones that had left their children, like they were missing their kids every day. So I think that many of them had gone through quite tough periods in Norway personally. But despite all these challenges, I've only met a few nurses who had decided to leave Norway and return to the Philippines.
Okay.
And I think I met 3 of them, and 2 of them, they didn't leave voluntarily.
Oh,
But
okay.
they had to leave because they had overstayed their visas and things like that. So
But what do you think is the motivation? What made them like hold on tighter to their dream, despite of all the loneliness and homesickness and depression in the weather? What have you like heard from them? What are their motivation for staying?
I think it's often the family,
Okay.
because they left for their families and they will stay here for the family.
To
And
provide in the
to provide
Philippines?
for their family in the Philippines. And also many of them said that they felt stuck in the Philippines. Because it's so hard to secure a permanent and paid nursing position in the Philippines. There are few career options, and even though they get a position, it's very low paid, it's hard work. So when they compare it to the situation they left, it seems like they're willing to accept
Anything.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Now we're inviting one of good friend also. She will tell us her story. Maybe it would also reflect those we've talked to about the challenges and their motivation. We will invite her for her to tell us her own journey of waiting and struggling and fighting and her experiences in order to survive here in Norway. So let us invite Christine. Hi,
Hi.
Christine. Yes.
Hi, everyone.
Yeah. Go well. We must not
Well,
po English.
yeah, okay.
Yeah.
It will
Okay.
be difficult for
It will
us
be
now. Trying to speak in English after
Yes.
learning Norwegian.
Yes, it's like a joke. We were pushed hard to learn the Norwegian, and then now we need to like turn back to speaking English. And I personally I could feel
Okay.
it's really difficult.
Mm,
Veldig tøff å liksom snakke på engelsk sånn rent
yeah,
engelsk. So, but welcome, Christine. The floor is yours. Tell us about your story here in Norway.
Yes. Good evening, everyone. Once again, and I'm as an introduction of myself, I'm Maria Christine Hilot, and now Eklund. And got married a year ago, and my experience as getting the authorization in Norway is actually not that tough. But I began as au pair. My sister was au pair before, and I replaced her in her host family. My host family has been my mentor, but that first month when coming here in Norway, like you feel like you're so dumb because you don't understand, and then you because I'm au pair, isn't it? And then I don't understand the little kid, but uh, luckily the older kid understand English, and then he's the one who is translating everything. To make it short, it's just only a month here in Norway. I met a good friend, or I met a Filipino from Cebu who speaks same language as me, and she's the one who told me how to process and to be a helsefagarbeider, or what you call that in English, health personnel, health worker, or nursing assistant. I don't know what's exactly the translation. And she helped me because we just talk because it's a TV test. We met at the, I guess, Olivol, and then she told me everything. So after she was so, it's Anne, our classmate, she is so helpful and provide me everything what I need to do, and all the papers and everything. So I got my authorization as helsefagarbeider, or health personnel, in just a month. And luckily my host family told me that she can help me to pay the fee, and they are encouraging me to speak Norwegian after 3 months, because they know that I'm a nurse and I have big chances to be nurse in Norway afterwards if I want to be here in Norway. And of course, I really feel pressure, and I don't want to see my host dad every time because he's pushing me every time. So if he's coming, so I go down in my room. And but that helped me a lot. And I learned Norwegian maybe in a year, because I'm not pushing myself too much due to because in that time we still have the chances to be a student, to get a student visa. So I was thinking that I'll just be relaxed and not doing that, pushing myself that much. But my host dad told me that, Christine, do you want to stay here in Norway, or do you want to go home in the Philippines? So he is is really like pushing me a lot, and that really helps. And after my 2 years of being au pair, I studied Norwegian language, and it's not easy. And then after that, I passed the probetre, or what you call that in English, the nursing test to get
level 3.
Level 3. Yeah. And then I have a good friend who helped me a lot, and then she's the one who sent she created a fake account on my behalf. No, not account, email ad. Email ad. And then she's the one who sent a lot of application, because I'm not feeling confident. I know how to speak Norwegian. I passed the level 3, but I felt not ready. I understand them, but it's really like, can I really understand other people speaking to me, especially in the job? But then again, I was lucky, and then I got the job. After 2 years here in Norway, I got for 3 months, and then maybe because of my personality, I'm talkative, and maybe it's not easy for it's not difficult to I don't know, but I'm just lucky and blessed. And then after 3 months, uh, I asked leather
The
the
boss.
head,
The
the
head.
boss, the head
boss.
and the boss, like if I will not be given because I'm applying for student visa, but I haven't get the visa that time because it's the transition, isn't it? After 2013, they are thinking of closing the student visa for learning Norwegian
Gosh.
language. Yeah. So that time I waited for like 6 months of having no visa, but luckily I get the job. And after 3 months, so I need to have another work working visa again. And then I told the boss, I learn Norwegian language for 3 months, for 2 years, and doing my best. But after 3 months, I will just send home because I can't get or renew my visa or the work.
Yeah, the
Oh,
work. Yeah.
yeah, but he is too helpful and told me that I can help you for 2 months just to extend. I said okay, but that helped, isn't it? But luckily before my 3 months visa end again, I guess Anne is my guardian angel because she has a friend who told me that there's an opening, or there's a hiring in the Unicare Omsorg. And then I applied, and you know what? I'm really saying that, oh, this work is really for me. It's really like I'm claiming it. And then after the interview, so we'll be interviewing a lot of people, and then I'm asking the boss, it's because I'm interviewed, so I guess I got the job.
So you assume already.
But she told me that, oh, I'm interviewing a lot, but I will tell you in a month. And then I told her that, you know what, I really need to know in a span of 2 weeks because I only have 1 month on my visa. So if I didn't get that, so I need to look for another job. But maybe maybe it helped, isn't it? That maybe they said that, oh, stakash, or poor this little girl who needs a visa.
Yeah.
So I got the visa. No, I got the work, and then I got it permanently. So I get the permanent job after 2 years and almost 3 years. Yeah, because it was October. So I got the permanent job, and it's really like, it's not easy because I'm permanent, isn't it? But if you're fast, or what's the fast for English?
Permanent.
Permanent, yeah, permanent. If you're permanent, you have a lot of you have a lot of
tasks or duties
or duties, responsibilities, yes. And then like calling the oh my god, puro na. Calling
the relatives and
the relatives of the patients. So it's really like, oh my god, or I don't even like to stay in the office or like the bathroom because I don't want to answer. I don't want to answer the phone because I'm not that confident. But sometimes because of the dialects, and it's not easy to understand. And it took me like every day when I got home, I really got a headache, and it's really like, oh, my head is really like, it's not easy trying to understand all, and I didn't understand everything they're talking.
No, fryktelig vanskelig språk. It's very
Yeah,
difficult.
it's very
Like,
difficult.
so, because think about that, Ashlaug. You need to translate everything that you're you're talking to in your mind, and then process your answer, and then translate it, and then so it's like when you get back, when you
Yeah,
go home, you'll be like finito.
yeah,
Your energy, because when you work physically, you'll just use your energy and you sweat little. But when you use head,
your head
but I think many Filipinos are really
experiencing that.
trying their best. And I would just like to point out that your experience, like of trying to secure fast job or permanent job, is like
Get
that.
fast.
Yeah, or at least 80%, because that's the requirement. That
Mm-hmm.
feels like a death penalty. Me too, I
Mm-hmm.
experienced it. Like, oh, I only have just 1 year. It feels like a really short time, and then you need
Mm-hmm.
to plan what what's the next step. What's the next type of visa I
Mm-hmm.
need to secure? Because that 1 year, it was like for finish if you really can't find any job. And it's actually case for those who are staying in the countryside, or the in the
Mm.
provinces, because I live in Christiansand
Christian
first,
fan.
and then Fred Extra. It's not really easy to secure a good job, so I needed to transfer to Oslo. But I think there's a lot. I've known a lot of people who from those places who needed to like flew back to the Philippines because there's no opportunity.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe Christine, you know someone also who went through a lot,
I
and
yeah,
then mm, ended up leaving Norway, and then
I've known just only one. Uh,
yeah,
on my batch, like au pair, because we in the it's really like we're searching for a free Norwegian language. So if the Norwegian embassy is no, I mean Philippine embassy is offering a free course for Norwegian, oh, we'll go there, and everything is free, so we'll go there because we can
yeah,
save. You can save a lot of money. But for example, 5,000 is big for us when you're au pair, because it's like 2 months of your salary that time, because like 3,000, I guess, in our
when was
time.
that? 2011.
2011.
Yeah, and
2011
actually,
it was.
that's what Aslaug has found out in their research. It's more of the financial problems. The nurses were trying to secure a job. Will try also to spend so little as much as they can, but
Mm,
they
mm,
still have
mm.
money to transfer back to the Philippines.
But
So
I'm
yeah.
lucky because my host family is very
Mm,
supportive. So I
mm.
didn't feel that the difficulty of having money, because I
Okay.
have them. They paid for
Yeah.
my cell phone. My
Mm,
my house is free. My food is free because I cook
yeah.
for them. So
Yeah.
it's really like, and they paying me while getting a job, but it's only
Mm,
half, because I'm going to school, isn't it, for learning
mhm,
the language. But
mm,
they're really helpful until
mm.
now.
Yeah, and that is I would like to point out there are a lot of Norwegians, because a lot of Filipinos are working as an au pair, and most of their Norwegian families know that they are nurses back in the Philippines, and supporting their study. They get free. They get to stay free the houses where they used to live before when they're au pair. But that always the case. There's still a lot who are needed to find a job, and they are allowed to like work 20% only if you are on a student
Mm,
visa.
mm, mm.
And you may be like uh I really couldn't imagine. So I would like to ask actually our audience to comment. Are there any students here who would like to give some comments of how you are trying to get
Apply.
through the day without spending so much. Yeah. we see a lot of comments. Yeah, we just need to read. Thank you for watching. A while ago, it was almost 50,000 viewers. But I will just like to, you can also read. I will just read those who are here watching us. Yeah, Norilyn Trandoken. Norilyn is part of the the Philippines KLP Samfund, and she's tagging her friends, Irish Bondok,
Francis,
and Francis Pagilo. He's our
our classmate.
classmate in the school, and that Irish is his wife and taking now scoop in Oslomet. And Juberos
It's my
Grijaldo
friend.
Lucero is my friend also, and they're watching. And I saw this one, Jingle and Andershan. Yes, you could ask questions, but we may save the questions regarding scope later on the next episode, because now we are trying to uh, find out the experiences of the nurses. So you can ask questions or tell your stories that is related to our topic. And go through Sheila and Navita Cañete watching.
It's my
And
friend.
it's your friend. Ah, hello. And this is Jamaica Castaneda. I'm au pair too, and I'm a nurse in the Philippines. I want to know how to do. Yeah, step by step. The step by step in securing authorization, we will tackle that in next episode. So tune in, Jamaica. Meanwhile, you can also comment your experience if you want. We will read that. Yeah. Here. Tres Marias. Hi, I'm Nep, nurse from Philippines and Helsefagarbeiter here in Norway for 6 years. So, yeah, also, uh, there's a lot of Filipinos who are Helsefagarbeiter, and a lot who wouldn't want to pursue to be a sykepleier. So, yeah, maybe Ashla also. Did you find any about that like facts? I've heard like because of the family, they won't want to pursue nursing because they have so little time. Or yeah, what does your research says about this?
Yeah, well, the family is one factor, and also some of them said that they were happy with the situation as it was because
Mm,
they were earning money,
mm,
and they found the salary to be good.
mm.
Um, and also that they felt that it was not worth the struggle because the road ahead of them would be bumpy. It would be a lot of obstacles. So
Yeah.
they just decided to settle for what they had. They knew what they had, and they were secure. They had bought a house or an apartment maybe, and they were able to provide and send money back home. So they were happy with the situation.
Mm,
Yeah.
And some of them also said that because most of my informants, they were working in nursing homes, and they said that they were looking at the nurses, their colleagues working as nurses in the nursing home, and they said
Stress.
that it was so much stress. They could see that their day at work was more stressful than their day, and they said, "I don't want such a stressful working environment. I feel that being a helsefagarbeider is more relaxing, and I'm just satisfied with what I have."
yeah.
Yeah.
Can I add?
Yeah. Yeah. What can you say about that, Christine?
Yeah, that was my that was my how I felt before. That
Yeah.
maybe I waited for like 2000, like 6 years before I finally decide to take the nursing school in Norway or be authorized as nurse. But it's really like, I say the salary is not that big. The difference if you're a health supervisor or a nurse, and there's a lot of stress. It's really a stress if you're a nurse because uh, it's known that it's only one or two working as a nurse, and then you have 33 patients, and then they are um, dependent on you because there is a lot of burden or tasks that you need to do. But in there's a lot of people telling me that why are you not like my boss and the head of my boss, what do you call it? The institution chef told me that why are not you're young, why are you not taking the nursing? And then I'm tell myself that I'm not that good in in Norwegian. I'm not that satisfied in going to school. I'm going to school, especially in taking the Bergen's test because they told so many people told me that it's difficult. And then again it's really like upgrading yourself and having the or it's really like I can do it. And why not? I'm single and I don't have debt to pay. I save money, so I can finance for myself. Even though my boss that time is not very helpful to me, so they told me that I need to stop to work if I'm going to the nursing school. But I told myself that no, I have the right. If you're going to for example terminate me or if I need to stop, I can call Fag Forbundet. I have I have the right in doing that, and you cannot just terminate me. And it's helpful in nursing. I know in the nursing home if I will be a nurse, and then she changed her mind after 2 weeks and told me that you can go to the nursing school, but no pay. So, so it's 10 months Otenlund. So no pay, going to school in 10 months and then just work what I can do in the weekend. I manage, but it's really difficult. You need to. I really understand a lot of Filipino nurses in the Philippines is not pursuing nurses in Norway. It's because they have family to what you call that for
support.
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 And then for example you have to pay for your apartment and you are dependent on your salary, so and then sending to the Philippines. I need to tell my family that maybe I will not send the same money as before for 10 months because I need the money for going to school. And it's but luckily, I still send the same because I got extra work in the weekend.
It's absolutely a must, Ashlag. You must need to find a way. Otherwise, it's not an option to like not send. You need to send. You need to work. You need to study. You need to just find a way more than you will earn at the same time study at the same time work. So yeah, the Filipinos and all the like trying to do all at the same time. I would remember myself. Maybe I was like 10 kilo, like lighter before because I needed to do all at the same time and with all the stress in the studies. But it's worth it, right, Christian? It's worth it after you achieve that authorization, after you secure the career. Now you can work, and then you can support your family and happy. Everyone's happy, but still you need to get to that down the road alone. The
It's
Norway.
it's easier to find a work, especially outside Norway, outside Oslo, because I
Yeah.
lived in Oslo for like 8 years, and then I need to transfer in Kragerø because my husband is from Kragerø, so I need to decide leaving my permanent work in Oslo and then applying for just vicar or like to be a vicar, summer job.
Or like
or
contractual.
Contractual.
It's really hard.
So my husband told me that it's okay. We can manage for a month or how many, maybe, because you can still have work even though it's not permanent. You don't need a visa because before going here, so I'm already a citizen. So I'm really proud to say that I got my citizenship, not because I married a Norwegian one, but I do it to myself because I told my husband that will not get married before I get permanent, because I don't want that the other people is telling me that, oh, that girl got the permanent job in Norway because of marrying a Norwegian. But of course it's okay, but it's just like I want to be secured myself, that I have that in my like, it's really like a pride in myself that after au pair, working, and then establishing myself, not dependent on others. And I get the permanent job in Kragerø after 3 months. So it's really like
really important because, like Ashlag said, we've been through a lot, and that's our pride. And for people, it's not just getting the permanent residence, but also like showing yourself that you did it. Like after all the struggle, it paid off. It's just like sometimes we need that kind of motivation, and that inspires also other people. I will just want to read some comments here from Tres Marias. It's not easy to study to be a nurse here in Norway because we have to pass B2 language level first, and is only in Oslo where we can study for a year, far from Tromsø. Hope Norway government can help us also. Butoderm Tres Marias. In our next episode in February 4, we will discuss about SCOMP and SCOMP D, or this decentralized SCOMP, some which will be conducted in Nordland fylke. So you don't need to travel in Oslo to secure. And actually, that's our dilemma right now. We are actually promoting this SCOMP, the complementary sykepleierutdanning. However, there's only 30 studieplas available for the nurses, and there's a lot of Filipino nurses who are actually dreaming to be authorized here in Norway, but 30 is not only for the Filipino nurses, but also for other, especially with the refugees. So we're actually working to get more studiplas. So in the next episode, we will also tackle that. And we have also one here, Jubiros. I'm Helsefag Arbaider. Dream to continue being a nurse here in Norway soon, but one factor that pulling me back is having a 2-year-old son. So like Ashlag said, it's not really easy because you see, when you don't have family here, who will be taking care of how will you pursue studying, and then if you'll study, who would support you financially? So like the struggles you've mentioned, it's not so easy, but I hope we could find later on, we could like find another way to help those, like some
working mom.
You know, we have actually a classmate, first batch of school, we have a classmate who we have given birth, and 6 weeks later, she was in our classroom. Like 6 weeks after she have given birth to her bunso, to her child. because she needed to use her mama permission
Farm.
in order to study. So she needed to bring her baby to
Whole
Oslo,
family.
the whole family actually, and because she lives in Bodo also, and then moved to Oslo with the entire family, and so there's
Alta.
Pra Alta, sorry, Pra Alta, and yeah, in Nur also like it's like so much stress. So, but she did it also, and yeah,
Can I say a bit?
yeah,
Because of Anne,
yeah,
she is my motivation to
mm,
pursue
yeah,
because I'm looking at her effort. Like,
mm,
I'm single. I didn't
mm,
have a family, or she needs to flew from Alta to Oslo. I mean,
mm,
paid a lot. And while
mm,
I'm in Oslo, and then I'm single, I don't have children.
mm,
And why can I do it? It's really like,
yeah,
oh, I don't need to give up. It's really like a shame on my face not doing
mm,
that while others are traveling, because a lot of my classmates are traveling from or transferring from Stavanger,
mm,
Alta,
mm.
uh, Alvin. Where's Alvin came from? Fredericks, or yeah,
Moss,
Alvin is, yeah, Moss. And
Moss.
also Francis is traveling every day
Every day
from
from Yesheim or
Yesheim.
yeah,
Oh,
shout out to
yeah.
Francis.
So
But
it's really like, oh, I need to. It's really like, oh, I'm from Oslo, from Ekeberg. It's really like 10 minutes or 25 minutes going to Oslo Met,
yeah,
and it's really like, it's not that big hindrance to
mm,
pursue.
mm. Yeah.
So
So we have a lot to talk about the challenges. Just name it, we have it. So like a new mom coming to school, like she still may be suffering from like adjustment, but yeah, if you're really that Honeyfoss,
confident.
that's Honeyfoss.
Yeah,
Honeyfoss.
Honeyfoss.
I travel from Honeyfoss every day. As long we have a duty praxis and we need to be there hal otta. He needs to be away from home like from 5
Five.
in the morning to take the tog, the train, travel to Lambertseter where we take our praxis. So that like this, the small one, and then yeah, like larger or more serious like challenges we've experienced that, but we have that determination and that actually maybe I think the biggest part, not just the pressure from the family, but the own determination and motivation and the dream, of course. But we're actually now over time. I would just like to ask if there's a message from Ashlag and you want to greet someone, you can do it now. Yes.
No, I just think I would like to say that you're doing an incredibly important job in Norway, and Norway are dependent on nurses from outside the country. And even though I know you are going through a lot of challenges to be able to stay and work in Norway, I've been observing Filipino nurses in nursing homes in Norway and have seen the way they are treating the patients, and also heard from your colleagues and from relatives of the patients how happy they are with the work you're doing. So I just hope that things will become easier in the future, and I hope that you will stay on and keep living your dreams, and keep staying in touch with your families back home as well. And yeah, we are very thankful for what you're doing, and sorry for all your difficulties.
No, no. I think, yeah. Thank you very much, Aslog, for the very kind words. And I think we're actually experiencing a little like improvement in the situation now in the processing, but still there's a lot of room for improvement. And we're here to like enlighten the people, maybe the Norwegian government and the administrators, to see that we're actually doing our very best to also help the community, to also provide for the needs of Norway in terms of healthcare services. So I think this would be the beginning of to open their eyes to what we migrant nurses could offer to ease the lack of nurses or healthcare providers in Norway. Yes, thank you very much. And Christine, do you have anything to say and greet?
I
Yes.
just want to say thank you, even
Yes.
for this opportunity. Even though it's a short partial, but
Yeah.
and my husband is telling me that, oh, you're telling that you're single. No, I'm not meaning. I didn't mean that I'm single. That time I studied nursing.
Okay. So you misunderstood. Yeah.
Please don't understand. Yeah, I'm married now.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
thank you,
Yeah.
everyone. And I hope that you'll not give up on your dreams. Just
Mhm.
continue, because we Filipinos are fighter and we're resilient and we can do everything. Just have faith in the Lord, and continue, be, or just have it in your heart, and I know God will help us. And everyone, especially us, Sally, me, and the Scump one
Mm,
family
mm,
can help you. Just send
mm,
us message and we can help you what we did, and
mm.
everything, or not money, but advices.
Yeah, it's important to point out. Okay. Well, thank you, Christine, and thank you, Ashlog. And for those, I've read a lot of inquiries regarding the process of authorization. Like I said, we will discuss that on our second episode on February 4. We're going live with Carrie, Dal, and Lina Northvet in Oslomet. So we'll be having them. We will present the step by step, and we will answer all your queries. And yeah, we will later on promote that on our page. Meanwhile, like our page, the Philippine Scale Pasampu ni Norga, we will continue with the sykepleier series until later in March with different topics. And yes, just tune in, and thank you for the almost 50,000 viewers tonight. Now, like
50,000 or 50?
50 who watched us tonight. It was a very incredible Friday night, and I wish everyone to safe weekend, and still need to tawari po us and during this pandemic, and hope soon we will meet each other and we'll talk about the experiences live like we did in 2019, Ashlog. But for now, tusen takk ska dere ha. Thank you for all who watch us, and god helg alle sammen.
Go
Okay?
ahead.
Ha det!
Ada.
Ha det!